Here we go! Hi, welcome to the first episode ever to be done of Shower Thoughts. And possibly more to come, I don't know. But today we have some pretty big topics to cover for certain areas of people. For gamers and annoying people. Let's get started. Okay. Now, I'm going to let Tyler decide what we talk about first. Here's your list. We have 5 Fnaf security breach. The Willy's Wonderland horror movie. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Why feminists are given a bad name. And why vegans are given a bad name. And cancel culture. Your choice. What are we talking about first?
Let's start with the easy stuff. Let's talk about FNAF security breach first. With the new things they sent out. Not too recently, but pretty recent-ish.
No, I hate you!
What do you want to talk about then?
If you want something cut, just say cut.
Yeah.
And cut. That's the one we talk about.
What do you want?
No, I don't care. What do you want to talk about first?
I'm going to talk about FNAF security breach, something easier. We're going to go on to more harder topics later. It is... You kicked the stand! You choose the topic.
I want to talk about FNAF security breach.
All right, sure. Specifically what?
About...
That's what you want to talk about.
I wasn't planning on cutting that out.
Oh,
Okay,
no,
I have to
cut that out.
now. Alright, so what I want to talk about is the new features the game brings. This is obviously going to be a very different game from what we're used to.
Of course. I mean, like you said earlier, when we were testing this, the original game was just GIFs or JPEGs of images, moving images, trying to get you, and now it's evolved so much.
Correct. Now, with obviously the most recent installments being not security breach, that's not out yet. From Sister Location to Help Wanted, those are obviously very different games from what we're used to.
That is true.
And not because one of them is VR, but also because we actually have things to do, and there's a much more deeper, obvious story. It's there's been teasers released, as in there's updated scenery for the game from I believe was the second trailer released at PlayStation Play, that one convention that no one goes to, but yeah, no, definitely. But there was a bunch of scenery updates, but also this one teaser that caught everyone's eye, which, for those of you who don't know, there's a YouTuber named Daco, who recently did a charity live stream, and whenever they hit a milestone, they showed a new teaser. And so there was a teaser called Sewer, and basically it was Glamour Chica, the newest Chica, was lying in what seemed to be a bunch of rubble with part of her face missing, one of her arms, and bits and pieces of her legs missing, which honestly reminds me of Toy Chica with the whole, beak missing.
Which game specifically do you think that would tie into? Because I feel like that ties into one game.
I think that ties into FNAF 3, with the whole dismantling, because within the most recent trailer, at the end, there was a clip of a animatronic hand coming out of a door with purple lighting behind it, which can only mean one thing. Whenever we see purple in the series, we have to think purple guy.
William Afton himself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, he's definitely back. As he says, he always comes back. Which, for those of you who don't know, Final Fantasy 3, the true ending was that Springtrap, the main killer, a.k.a. William Afton, a.k.a. Scraptrap, he murdered 5 children. And basically, one night he decided to learn the secrets of their soul powers. He dismantled them. Big mistake. The souls, once they were freed of their metal cages, came after him. But what he thought would be a genius idea is if they saw him in, a Freddy Fazbear suit, they wouldn't kill him because they think he was one of them. bad idea. In that room, there was leakage, and it set off the spring traps, or like the, what would you call those, spring mechanics or whatever?
Spring locks in the suit.
Spring locks, yes, correct.
Hence the name Spring Trap.
Yeah, jabbed him, and he bled out, or so we thought. He lived. He's alive-ish. He's half dead, half alive.
Now, one thing I want to talk about is at the end of that teaser, you said a hand came out with blue lighting. Yep. So the first assumption is William Afton, or Purple Guy. However, in Sister Location, in the ending, there was another person with purple eyes from the shadows, which everyone thought was Purple Guy as well. However, it took a wrong direction, meaning it was either his son or someone else.
He's dead. He burned up in what's called Fnaf 6.
That is true. The timeline is a bit screwed
here's
up.
the thing. Here's how I know that's Afton. Let me... Right now, because we don't have face cams, I'm pulling up a picture of Scrap Trap on my phone right now. Oof, I was in shopping. Oops.
Just a burned down version of Spring Trap.
Okay, look. Yeah, look at this. Look at that hand.
Mm-hmm.
And
Godzilla vs. Kong, that can be another topic we can talk about.
No, I'd rather die.
Cut that out then.
Wait, here it is. See, wait, look at the hand when it comes up. Oh, guess I already did it. I skipped it. No! Look at that hand.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this hand. Look at this hand. Look at that hand.
All right.
It's clear since he's been burned, that fur on the suit's come off. Like, he's been burned. This is his second time being burned now.
Mm-hmm.
Both times, I'm assuming, unsuccessful.
Yep. So yeah, with the two hands, Spring Traps or Scrap Trap's hand from being burned, and the ending with the hand coming out, also looking similar. Yeah, it's safe to assume it's Scrap Trap, and it's a different area in the timeline. However, yeah, man, is the main thing is when you see Chica's head, not head, but beak missing, and then Scrap Trap's hand. Do you think like that might have a connection? Because in what was it, FNAF 2, the minigame Follow Me, it was Purple Guy, aka Scrap Trap, taking down the parts of animatronics. Maybe he's attacking them again, just in a more what's the word? Torturous, berserky way, I guess you could say. But yeah, I get what you're saying. How that could be similar.
Okay,
However, they have cut us before.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but right now I have a picture of the sewers trailer. Future Logan, you can just throw that up on the screen if you want. I don't care. This is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that remind you of the beak and also a picture of Toy Chica without her beak? Like the missing beak, and also her eyes are not right.
That is true.
I am very excited because I'm very excited for Security Breach. We're on to a different topic now. Like, same topic, but different subtopic.
Yep.
I just want to do that.
Cut.
The microphone looks hittable, so I wanted to hit it.
Cut it!
Shut up. Okay, so, yeah, no, this game, scenery, looks amazing. This is probably one of the most beautiful FNAF games I've ever seen. But yeah, and there's even a museum area of past FNAF. So clearly we can tell this is not in the past. This is the future.
That is
put
correct.
In the future, even though it's an 80s themed mall, it's going to be put in the future.
I agree. Yeah, it looks completely awesome. It looks like obviously not the same art style. However, I feel like the art style will wow us just like Breath of the Wild did when that came out. Because that art style was phenomenal. Also, don't mind the movement in the background. If I think we've covered most of Security Breach there, because there again, don't mind the audio in the background. Again, there is not much information about it other than what we have.
Other than the release date, which is 2021.
Yeah, which is an entire year, which isn't too specific.
Logan, cut this conversation out. Hello, welcome to the podcast, and we're back from our break. For us, it was half an hour, and for you, it was couple seconds. So, yeah, I need complete silence from the studio audience. Thank you. Now, our topic was Willy's Wonderland.
Moving on from the old Fnaf, a security breach.
A little bit of a first, like a pretty easy topics to cover on our first podcast.
Yes.
So, I haven't seen it. I've heard good things about it. Now, I've heard you've seen a little bit of it. How did you see it?
So when there's movies that have come out a while back, even though this movie's pretty recent, you could either rent or buy on YouTube, which isn't what I did. I went to a friend's house and I watched it with him, and it was decent. It lives up to what it has been, which is a really good movie with interesting lore. Nicolas Cage, normally you wouldn't say he's a good actor, but in this movie he was actually really nice. He played his part well.
Now, I have seen like 3 scenes of it. I've seen Willy versus Nicolas Cage. I've seen the ending, which was the turtle dying and then the siren lighting the car on fire. That's it. Now, I'm not that brave when it comes to horror things. Honestly, if, like, during the day, I can sort of handle, like, oh, this isn't that scary. Like, once I go to bed, slides creak, and I'm terrified. But, like, so, I don't know, I think I'd be able to handle Willy's Wonderland as long as I'm watching it with a blanket.
I think you would as well. I'm a horror fanatic. This isn't like the scariest movies of the movies out there. And this is coming from someone who absolutely loves horror movies. However, Willy's Wonderland is a really good one for beginners too. It is nice. It'll be fun to watch if you ever do in your time. Horror movies are a good genre just to watch in general.
I don't know, because, like, I think I can sort of start to lean into horror movies once I get a little older, because I think I start to cut that out. I think I can sort of start to get into horror movies once I get a little older, because, like, I don't know. Because, like, as I get older, I realize that people in movies are actors who love what they're doing and were thrilled to get their part. It's just that in horror movies, they play it so well. They play their parts amazingly.
That is true, yeah.
It's astonishing. Mm-hmm. There's no way I'm ever going to watch it.
Oh, yeah. It was a good, no pun intended, it was a good 2 movies. I watched both of them on a plane flight. It was nice, and I can see why you wouldn't want to watch that. Yeah, they play their parts really well on those movies. Horror movies are sort of my thing. If you have seen horror movies, or at least a few, what would be your favorite?
I've only seen one horror movie, which was A Quiet Place. Wasn't the best. I will admit that. It wasn't really scary. I don't think it was a good first step into the horror movie genre for me, but a step nonetheless. So, back to what I was talking about, how I can't really handle horror movies. It's because, like, in action movies, I'm like, oh, clearly, like, because it's just, like, the editing is done, where it's just like, oh, it's a bunch of lasers. I'm like, God, yeah, no, it's not real. But with horror movies, it's so gory. Like, it shows all the blood, and that freaks me out. Like, I can handle blood, but, like, when it's just, like, I'm cutting this guy's organs open and all that, I can't handle that much. I mean, I can sort of handle it, but not the best.
Yeah, with horror movies, its mission is to make you creeped out. When it comes to just unsettling environments, feeling like you're alone. A Quiet Place, since we were talking about that just a little bit, feeling like something that you'd normally do on a daily basis, like we're doing right now, you can't, which is speak. And unlike action movies, horror movies take supposedly they take a lot of the time to build up characters, and then it's really scary watching them having to go through pain.
Yeah, like, okay, so I could probably handle horror movies if I'm watching them with someone. There's no way I could watch a horror movie during the night. There's no way I could do that. But during the day and I'm hanging out with people, I could probably handle that. Like, I would be a little freaked out, like, after the movie, if we go hang out and do something. I would probably be looking over my shoulder every now and then, but there's no saying that I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah, fun thing, I watched Hereditary in the night, and I could not sleep at all, because that's an amazing horror movie.
Well, like, okay, here's the thing. When you watch like, you know how there's just random creaks in your house?
Yes.
After you watch anything scary that freaks you out, that's gonna, like, any creak, and you're like, oh, I'm dead. I'm so dead.
Yeah, I've gotten that feeling before. Yeah, it's strange. However, I still like the exhilarating feeling, I guess.
So, the only way I can get reassurance, but, like, again, I know they're actors, but sometimes I'm like, what if it's real? The only way I can get reassurance is knowing that the horror thing dies.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just like, oh, they kill it at the end, I'm like, okay, I could probably handle that. Like, I could definitely handle that.
Or if the topic is just so absurd. Like, there's a movie, I think, called, like, Aliens from Outer Space or something like that.
Yeah.
That's completely absurd.
Clowns from outer space.
Clowns, yeah, killer clowns from outer space. That's completely absurd.
That's it.
Yeah, practically it, but not as scary.
Yeah, I mean, like, some of the topics are interesting. Like, Child's Play? No way I could watch that.
Yeah, that's
no way. No
very
way.
creative topic, yeah.
I think the animatronic subject is a little overplayed.
That is true.
Since FNAF came out, there's so many horror games about, animatronics come to life.
Mhm.
And there's... Okay, I want to side chat real quick.
Yeah.
I saw this stupidest YouTube video.
Mhm.
It was when, like, FNAF real and Chuck E. Cheese and all that.
Mhm.
There was a YouTuber who was like, oh, this Chuck E. Cheese shut down, but the animatronics are still on. They're moving. Probably because there's a janitor in there who hasn't shut the lights off yet.
Yeah, that's true.
And there were still a couple cars in the parking lot, which was staff and crew cleaning up.
Mhm. There's no chance. Like, that's a bit stupid.
Yeah. But,
Jumping to the conclusions, I guess.
yeah. I think this might be a good place to wrap up our first podcast.
Yeah, it's a nice spot, just talking about horror genres and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For our next podcast, we're going to talk about some more stuff.
Mhm.
Maybe Nintendo. You know what? Let's spin the wheel right now.
Yeah, but so we currently have a wheel with different topics we should talk about, which we thought would be fun. And it is. Going from things that aren't controversial at all to some things that are very controversial, like cancel culture and such. On our next podcast, if we do have one, it was a blast making this. We'll do whatever we spin from here. So I guess
we should do another one. It will count for our goal.
Yeah, it would be great to do another podcast. And I guess we'll leave you guys with a cliffhanger, finding out what we would talk about next if you guys look forward to that. Sorry this podcast isn't too long. There's also a blooper reel, so let's do it.
Spinning.
It is very suspenseful.
We're talking about Nintendo. Shut up.
All right, I guess we'll leave it at that. All right.
All right, we're going to talk about Nintendo next. So,
Fun.
hope you enjoyed our first podcast.
Yeah.
If not, too bad. We're going to do like a couple more of these.
Yeah.
Just live with it.
Mhm.
Maybe after another meal, we could keep doing this for.
All right.
You caught yourself there.
All right.
You didn't catch yourself. You said it, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute. All right, well,
leave it at
we're
that.
gonna bid you off with some sick tunes.
Yep. All right.
We need like 30 seconds of this so we can get the credits in.
Yep. All right.
Starting now.